We are launching a fiat-backed stablecoin on Cardano. We are actually streaming live through a Twitter space right now, so I'm going to get that up and going on YouTube. Hey everybody, we'll get started here. You guys ready in the space? Alright, I'm just going to get my presentation then. Want me to hold it here? Or hold this like mic? This is going to work great. I hope so. So, this is the nice disclaimer slide that this is not an offer solicitation to investor, financial advice, etc., etc. We have forward-looking statements. We may or may not, whatever. Anyway, Mehen is the first fiat-backed stablecoin on Cardano. I know there was an announcement yesterday from the stage in Hussein about one that's being made by the makers of the Euro wallet. We've been very friendly with that team, and we're working together with them in the IO Cardano stablecoin working group to iron out any regulatory issues or anything that might come up in the protocol that helps us get over those hurdles. So we're all working together, but essentially what we're all going to do is we're going to get together and offer these sort of last mile solutions that provide a link between your Cardano wallet and a cash register. The other blockchains have a variety of stablecoins. It's not a new idea, but variety is the spice of life. So if you look at here, we have Tether and Circle, which are regulated about the same. They're very large, and they hold their own licenses. They have money transmitter licenses in the various states, and they operate their own. Paxos has a trust license. It's a little different, but that's the path that USDA is going to come. We're going to go the Tether Circle route. There's also the BUSD Gemini, and there's the MakerDAO guy, the algorithmics. There's very few algorithmics, and most of the algorithmics that are building in Cardano are using a similar style to the MakerDAO token. So on Cardano, we have Indigo Labs, Mokamada. We have JED, which is the unique thing to Cardano. It's an over-collateralized 4-to-1, collateralized with ADA. It's an interesting structure. We haven't seen it on other chains yet. Also, there's Meld, which is working on getting a European e-money license, and they will end up launching probably a European style coin. And then there's the Yoroi team that's working on their Anzins project. It's going to be like a Pax USD coin. So Mehen is working on a fiat-backed stablecoin that is licensed at the state level instead of at the federal level. The Mehen is the symbol on the Ouroboros, symbol of the snake eating its tail. The name of that snake is Mehen in the Egyptian lore, so that's where the name comes from. Mehen is actually three companies. It's Mehen Innovations Inc., which is the software company that develops the identification, verification, and the on-chain and off-chain tech with databases and the user accounts and whatnot. Licenses it to Mehen Finance LLC, which holds all of the state licenses to mint and burn stablecoin, and then the Mehen Incubator, which we'll get to later, that will reinvest the excess of the reserve that backs the stablecoin back into the Cardano community to further development of this great ecosystem we all contribute to. The team is an interesting one. It's a bunch of us that have kind of a motley crew come together, stateful operators, NFT project leads, generally investors. Our investors are individuals here. We have Hosky as an investor. We have a few others that are sort of compiling, all coming together to build this thing. It's kind of like a mega sword that comes together. I'm Matt Ploman. I currently work at DWS, which is Deutsche Bank's asset manager, running the money funds business. Steve Fish is a stateful operator, who's our CTO. He's running all of the off-chain tech and building the user accounts and the security and everything else. He's got 23 years as high assurance developing with a few defense contractors and in other places. We have, here's the rest of the team. We have Eddie here, he's in the room. We have Torben, Sean, Jillian, Chris, Jim, another Sean, another Chris. Generally speaking, our roadmap, I want to kind of rush through this a little bit, but the first step of the journey is identity solutions. Part of our regulatory remit is that we have to KYC anybody that mints or burns the token. So if you want to get some USDM, come to us, go through a KYC process, and then we issue you a token, identity token. We've agreed to partner with Mehen. We've also been working with IMX under the Atollo Prism banner. So we're working with these known quantities in the ecosystem to then first thing we do is build the identity tokens, the identity solutions that are held in the Mehen management. Then we go with the USDM stablecoin. So the stablecoin is going to be launched on a state-by-state basis. As we're able to operate in a specific state, we will announce it to the community, and then we will begin minting and burning in those states. We've got agreements with community artists to create limited edition first mints from that state. So like the state quarters, or like the state special edition dollar bills, or other coins you would get, you can get those through us on a limited edition basis. So the first people that mint the USDM from, say, Montana will have a nice Montana image on their NFTs or on their tokens. And then the thinking is over time, those will increase in rarity as those go down. So you can, like a coin collector, come and get the USDM tokens if you're there early. If you miss the first million out of the state, then you get the standard. Stage 3 is reinvestment. We talked about this earlier, the Mehen Innovations incubator. So as the reserve grows, naturally over time, we'll have more, as it kicks off interest, we'll have more in assets in the reserve than is needed to back the coin. So then that little excess will pay for the project, but it'll also pay for a reinvestment of the team. So we are hoping that at this time next year, we'll be doing our first seeding round back into the community late in 2023. Payments integration will come either before or after that. We've worked with card issuers in the past to do debit cards on accounts. So we'd like to build a Mehen card, which will enable you to spend your USDM directly from your Cardano wallet, which is an incredible feature that would help with adoption, I believe, a whole lot. And then eventually we end up going into other countries' and other currencies as needed. So that's the roadmap. That's what we've been promoting to our investors. The timeline is fairly simple. We've already done the groundwork when it comes to securing relationships with banks and legal partners, building the core team, developing the technology, building the on-chain and off-chain companies required to manage identity and accounts. And that's through the end of the year. And then the next slide is 2023. It'll be a fun year. Launch Q1, and with the identity services and tokens as we get state licenses, we will continue to roll out the token. Q2, Q3, we'll start making the reinvestments. We'll expand into other items, and it wouldn't be like Cardano Summit if we didn't leak a little bit of alpha. We heard about midnight. We have a Mehen midnight, legally, friendly, privacy protected, KYC DEX, perhaps Q3. And then partner with overseas businesses to offer additional fiat currency solutions. We have partnerships with companies in the UK already. We're working for a partnership in mainland Europe. But again, they'll just doing that. So we don't necessarily want to step on their toes too much. It could be a nice partnership opportunity. Then building for the long term, we can be honest about what's happening with Congress. The divided Congress is actually probably good for crypto regulation, but in 2024, perhaps we'll be seeing implementation of additional regulations regarding stablecoins and how they're treated, how the issuers are treated, which will help provide some legal certainty for everybody in the space, but also probably require us to either convert to a federally licensed entity under some potential regulatory regime, or maybe to convert into a bank, credit union, or other regulated facility, which can be able to do, once the token's out and circulating, there should be plenty of capital around to do that sort of thing. So that's like 2024. Finally, again, it's the Cardano Summit. We're announcing the Mehen Ambassador Program. There is no token. We can't issue a token because that's an unregistered security sale, likely. So the Mehen Ambassador Program is really your opportunity to participate in the growth of Mehen financially. So we're bringing on ambassadors that are, there's no Mehen tokens, so you have early access to the identity solutions, early access to continued earning, and actual equity in Mehen Innovation Team for the ambassadors. So if you're a community member, a builder, generally a holder, Twitter Spaces host, YouTuber, SPO, reach out. We'd like to bring some people on you want this element. So that's the presentation. We'll take some questions from the room.
Explain in simple terms, how does USDM differ from USDA and JED? Just in simple terms, how are they different and maybe how can they work?
So the USDA is similar to USDM. They're both fiat-backed. USDA has a partnership with a regulated entity that will hold the licenses and they work with it. And I don't necessarily get too far ahead of their communications on this, but we are holding our own licenses, we're going state by state and getting approval that way. And there's some questions about how Cardano and non-Cardano can't block tokens and the structure, whether it's going to be compliant with a federally regulated system or whether you go the state by state approach is better. And so having like two fiat-backed in the ecosystem, it certainly provides for a little bit more regulatory diversity in stablecoins on Cardano. So just as you guys look, as the ecosystem matures and goes into the next stage, we're going to need to have more of these options. So it's good that we're working together to face simpler problems. We're also going to be able to tackle them as well.
And JED, how are you doing that and using some of this competition?
Well, JED's an algorithmic stablecoin. So you take ADA, you wrap it up in a smart contract, and you create JED. And that's an interesting one to do because, I mean, it's all on chain. It's going to ADA back all the way down, but it's not necessarily a scalable solution. It costs you $4 to mint $1 JED. And so working on that front is sometimes tricky. So we're not algorithmic, we're just straight up one over fiat-backed.
Okay, I think there's a question over there. You want to move the phone and the Twitter space over there?
Okay, so yeah, we'll move the Twitter space here to Garrett.
So can you explain what's going to mint? So when I go onto Coinbase, I buy USDC. Am I minting, or did the exchange mint $1 million of USDC and their KYC? Like, explain to me, who am I actually going to? Am I going to mint it, or am I going to go on the exchange and buy their previously minted? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. So,
Versus a debts.
yeah, the question's a very good one. We're not working with exchanges, we're working with individuals. So you will come to Mehen, you will come and do a KYC, you'll send, there's a little bank account tied in, you'll send your dollars in to Mehen, and then you mint that yourself once the money's reached it. So I think it takes about 6 days to get finality in the fiat banking system. And so this is going to be used in dollars. Those dollars turn into Mehen. If you want your dollars back, send the Mehen back. The dollar go right back into your bank. And if you for somehow, let's say that you didn't mint any, but you went out there and you earned some USDM by doing work or selling something or whatever, then you could come to us, KYC, link your bank account, burn it, and you send in the dollars there.
The Mehen could stay within an ecosystem and not get cashed out.
Yes, the question is, could the Mehen stay within the ecosystem and not get cashed out? Yeah, probably. That's how Circle does it, that's how John does it. They hold your fiat and it circulates around. There's about 1.1 to 1.2 times the value of USDT is traded every day on chain. So there really is a lot of momentum economic activity tied to USDT that doesn't require you to redeem it in fiat. So it really is a very useful tool on chain to have a dollar that you can pass around either through the protocol or individually.
I have a question. Could you elaborate a little more about how your community program is going to work and how that differentiates this different from others and summits? How to keep the money how that works?
Sure. So the question, yeah, we have a question. So one of our kind of guiding premises is that it really sucks to give somebody your dollar and not pay interest on it. But if you have a fiat-backed stablecoin, there's no way that we can pay interest because it would be in security. And so the way around that really, and the way to help remedy that is that we're planning on really giving back to the community, and that not only helps potentially grow the diversification of what Mehen is, but it also grows the ecosystem overall. One of the things we've always struggled with in the community is the entire question of these different rounds of funding that come from CF through the name is basically the program. Catalyst, thank you. Yes, the Catalyst program has been frustrating because it's just so rigid and the process is what it is and there's no moving around, there's no moving it. So, we can be a little more creative with that. We can have a community-driven effort to decide what the process of selecting the funded programs is. So if you wanted to be, if you wanted to do a Shark Tank style thing, fine. If you wanted to do an American Idol style thing where a few experts choose the people that can eliminate this round and then the community can come in and save one of their favorites, then you can go through that process as well. So we can be creative with the democratic participation and see how much the general, people who are registered to mention or say in the funding mechanisms. That's really something that I don't think you'd see if USDC were to come, or I don't know what USD is planning on doing. But if you see some of these other stablecoins that are coming from a centralized entity into the community, they necessarily wouldn't be as excited to grow Cardano as we are, just because we're all from Cardano.
Sorry to repeat, but two things. One of the things about USDC is that they're going to lock or contracts and so on, native tokens can't be locked or whatever from compliance. And then number two, as an Indigo, if they're USD, use basket of fair coins, could be beneficial for them to be eventually used as one of those.
I love this question. Yeah, we have a good relationship with really every DeFi protocol on Cardano. We are familiar with them, they're familiar with us. And so moving, I don't want to speak for Indigo, but it would be great for them to just like the MakerDAO token does include the stablecoins that run Ethereum into DAI. We would necessarily be a good component for that. I think that they think, I don't know what they think, but I would like to think that they would be open to that. The other thing is, so the locking question is one that really speaks to the structure of how Ethereum works. In Ethereum, tokens, ERC20 tokens, are transferred from wallet to wallet because the ERC20 token holder, like the smart contract manager, does that transfer. So if you were to be a terrorist, and you were to send money to another terrorist, whatever, then it would actually be Circle that's sending the money from terrorist to terrorist. It wouldn't be you necessarily. You'd be participating in it, but they'd be participating as well. And so they need to lock it to protect themselves. On Cardano, because it's decentralized, because self-sovereignty is a real thing here, then individuals can go and pass the token around the ecosystem to each other without needing to having to intervene. So if you're a terrorist, you send USD to another terrorist, then we're definitely going to lock your account. You can't burn it. The other terrorists can't burn it. We're going to watch the tokens on chain and see where they go to, you see who your accomplices are, and then help them from reporting that. We are not, there's no way we can do that. So it's not necessarily people think it's a regulatory requirement to have to do that, but it's really like a cover your ass requirement because Circle and Tether don't want to participate in crime We don't want to participate in crime either, but the vehicle for our participating in crime is redeeming you. The vehicle for their participating in crime is every transaction that's ever used. So I'd imagine that their legal team wants to be sweating bullets every day. So we can open up the space, I guess, now to the people on Twitter. If there's no more questions from the room, we're going to switch over and share the Twitter space on the. Uh-oh. Okay, we can hear you guys now.
Request. And love to hear from anyone and everyone. Wow. How is it over there? Is it lively? It sounds like there's got a good room.
There's a great room here. We're very happy to be attended by so many people. Probably around 100 people in the room, I would say. And there's overflowing outside in the hallway. There's people knocking on the door to get in. I don't really know what they're planning on doing, but it's a really good event. I wanted to mention out, I didn't hear earlier, I couldn't listen to the space, but if you turn out the space and DM me, then we should pick you up a Cardano Summit NFT code so that you can attend.
Oh wow, what? Super high. Awesome. You hear that? So if you guys are actually here in this right now, you can tweet out Mehen, and he'll get you the Cardano Summit NFT. That is super generous. I love that. See, gosh, having the mindset of the community for the community, that's why I'm here. That's awesome. So maybe we can cool some minds here and kind of play with the idea of this privacy change. What does the privacy change kind of look like in the future? And I know it's abstract because we just honestly all heard about it as a community, but what does that look like as well for like a Mehen structure?
The Midnight Chain is an interesting project. It's going to be regulatory friendly, legally friendly ways of disclosing what's happened on the chain within a privacy chain. So you have keys that can unlock certain individuals' actions. So we're interested in hearing more about it, but I think what needs to happen is if you have a KYC ecosystem, but you wrap it in privacy, then you have the ability to do a legally friendly DEX with actual security that are transferred between and among people, bought and sold through a way that it's able to be verified legally, but also verified if you don't need to report taxes, if you need to report who's got what, and you can also, within that KYC ecosystem, add privacy to it. So the way that the Cardano IO is developed this midnight stage is going to be a very exciting one, and it's one we're really going to look into adding to our capabilities with the time comes and that stuff is live, and we have a lot more certainty about what it is.
I'm super excited because once we get certainty on that, it'll just open up so many more avenues to think about. Yeah. So again, get everyone up here who wants to ask questions. We only see a couple tweets. Get more ears. That's it. So what partners can go on next?
More people will be joining from Minecraft through Zoom.
Zoom and real life on YouTube. Should we have them on the screen or space there? Can we switch the audience and see Wolfgang?
So Wolfgang can hear us.
Oh, he can hear us.
You're muted.
Wolfgang, can you hear us okay? Okay.
Alright, so I guess we're going to have to shut down this platform.
Show the first page just on your phone.
Well, let's get Wolfgang up here. Wolfgang, can you join the Twitter space on your phone? Are you on the phone? Or are you on the phone?